Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Printed Panel Podcast on YouTube. Yeah.
On the YouTubes.
On the tubes. So, what's really cool about not having comic books... No, I'm fine.
I'll say it just like I did on the last one. Like, I'm enjoying... Do I feel sorry for the writers, artists, printers, distributors, local comic book shop people who are not making money off of me currently? Yeah. Do I feel sorry for my bank account? No.
I will say this is a nice break for some. We are hoping... Listen, if you're bored, and I know people... I see people online complaining like, oh, I'm so bored.
Well...
Really?
First of all...
There's millions of video games you can play.
My mother cured that for me forever. Because every time I said I was bored, she made me vacuum.
Yeah.
Two things came out of that. I will never admit to being bored, ever. I will farm something to do rather than admit to boredom. And number two, I frigging hate to vacuum.
So the irony, the funny thing is so your mother did that to you. My grandmother got me to never ever say it's too hot. You'll never hear me say, God, it's too hot out here. I may say, whoo, it's burning up. But I will never say it's too hot. She shamed me because I would mow her grass every week.
You said shamed, not shaved, right?
Shamed.
Okay, I heard shaved. I'm getting old.
So she shamed me when I was about 16 years old because I'm like, I was literally just didn't want to go mow grass because it was 95 degrees. I'm like, it's too hot out here, Grandma. What are you? It's just to me. She's like, that's fine. No problem. Come back when it's not so hot. And of course, it was hot the whole summer. And then she shamed me the next week. It's like, it was too hot last week. What about now? So, yeah, Grandma, who's been dead for a few years now, God, I loved her. And yes, what she was right. that was not too hot to mow. I should have known better. So, never going to hear me say that either. So, but no, I'm okay with a little hiatus. By the way, so I've been on the hiatus. I did buy some Becky Cloonan books. These are from her mystery shop. These are pretty cool. I'm actually really looking forward to looking to all these. I really enjoy her interview with Becky. She was pretty fantastic, and I'm happy to support her content. We're going to put these up on Facebook on our Facebook page as well, so that way you guys can kind of see the kind of cool stuff she does.
And link to her, please.
Yes, absolutely, because she's pretty amazing. So today, we're going to talk about Marvel Comics. We're going to talk about Secret Empire.
In order to, if you didn't watch last week, you should go back and watch it. It deals 100% with the X-Men. Yeah. And we're going to feel like we're going backwards with what we're about to do. And I'll, in the preamble, talk about the reason why. So one of the things that I want to accomplish while there are no new comics coming out is catch everybody up on how we got here. Now, hopefully, we grab a few people who have been out of comics for a while and they go, oh, well, if that's all that's going on, at least I know what's going on now. Let's start reading some comics again. But we're catching up the history of both Marvel and DC. And I'll say recent history. Because we're not going to go back to we're not going to go back to Amazing Fantasy 15. What I'm trying to do is pull the threads that make you go, wait a minute. Why is Thor the king of Asgard?
Right.
Why are the X-Men on their own little island? Why is the Hulk immortal? And I thought that I was grabbing an important thread with Secret Empire. And I'm wrong.
But no.
There is an important thread. I was wrong. What I wanted to grab actually took place in Civil War II.
Right. Then up to Secret Empire.
Yes.
So you go back a little bit.
So we would have had to go back to 2016 to get everything that was going on.
Right. I mean, and Secret Empire basically is a book we're going to talk about. It's 10 issues. It's
terrible.
Dramatic.
Awful.
It's painful. It's
garbage.
It's evil Cap. It's
There are 2 or 3 standout moments in this book. And we're gonna preamble it, and then I'm gonna give a postscript that will make sense as to why this is important. So we're gonna kick off the recording of the audio
podcast,
and thank you guys for watching us on YouTube. We really do genuinely appreciate the views. Honestly, if people would just go view that first 5 minutes before we press this record button, maybe that's how I ought to start breaking it down. Maybe we ought to maybe you ought to cut that down to just the preamble before the show, and then if you want to hear the rest, go to.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So maybe. All right. So yeah, I pressed the button right this time. Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Garen.
And we are the Printed Panel Podcast. Today we are deep diving the events of Marvel's Secret Empire. Schmarvel. And
it's like schmooey.
We were talking about on the YouTubes, on the preamble piece. Dude, that's exactly what we're going to start doing. We're going to just start doing the preamble and then cutting at the preamble. I may do it this week and not have the whole show on there because nobody's watching the whole show any damn way.
You don't know that?
I do know that.
Okay, maybe they aren't.
Because YouTube tells me average view length.
Okay.
Sure. And it saves me a crap ton of upload time.
All right, so...
I'm so happy with this idea that we've just totally derailed the podcast. All right, so Captain America, at the end of Civil War II, ends up an old man again.
Yeah.
He is
depowered.
Depowered. And Civil War II dealt basically with the Inhumans and Ulysses, and really that was all it was about, was introducing this new cosmic character.
For this new character, Ulysses, he's introduced.
But
his power is he can predict the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he predicts a throwdown between Tony Stark and Captain Marvel and Captain America, like Civil War I, during which Miles Morales ends up killing Captain America. And there's one super important thread. Clint Barton, working for Cap, goes to arrest with some other Avengers, Bruce Banner, who has been hiding in this bunker under a desert or something. And I don't remember exactly where it's at, so don't quote me. Barton isn't actually there to do that. Bruce had pulled Clint Barton aside and said, look, you're the one guy I can be absolutely certain, if I give you special gear, can kill me. If you see me start to Hulk out
kill me
ever again, kill me dead. They confront him. Bruce's eyes turn green. Clint thunk, and kills him. Clint goes to jail for murdering Bruce Banner for a while.
Yeah.
And as a result, Bruce is dead. No Hulk. And then we get the ambiguously gay Hulk in the form of Amadeus Cho. But
ambiguously? Really? I like Amadeus Cho, though. Honestly, he's a great character. He's arrogant and kind of a D-bag, but that's kind of what you like about him.
He is a very cocky gay man. Yes, he is. Or gay kid. And
kid, whatever. So.
And I say ambiguously to use the 90s definition of really bad of that, which I don't believe in, but I wanted to call it the ambiguously gay duo that used to be on Adult Swim or whatever. Yeah, it was so great.
Yeah, was that Adult Swim? SNL.
Was that SNL?
SNL. Yeah.
So
Robert Smigel. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's the guy's name who created it.
Cool. So, how do you know that? That was the best random trivia ever. It's like peeling an onion.
I have a lot of really, really horrible information inside my head. I don't know why I know the things I know.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cut that prequel, that lead up till you see me pick up the recorder to record the podcast, and then I'm going to put a splash page up. So to hear more, click here, and it takes us to the website.
You can't just talk about that after the podcast?
No, I'm so blown away that I haven't thought of that up to now.
Okay, so let's talk about
so
Empire.
Hulk is dead after Civil War II. Cap is aged to 90-something. He is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's still not a young man anymore, but he's still Captain America. He's still Steve Rogers.
And Tony Stark is in a coma.
Right.
And in basically a metal chrysalis.
Yeah.
And his AI is operating his armor. It is not his consciousness. It is his AI.
But it's not his consciousness, but his AI is him.
Yeah.
It's just as much of a D-bag as he
is. Carol Danvers feels like the biggest bitch in the universe.
Yeah. So
that's where we're at pre-Secret Empire.
Right.
Then comes this little two-part thing called Avengers Standoff, which is Maria Hill taking...
Yeah, so she has been in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now Cap is in charge of Shield again.
Cap's the director. I don't think he's in charge of two things. He's in charge of Jack and shit, and Jack left town.
So now, by the way, at this point, since Cap is depowered, he has given the shield to
Falcon.
Yeah. So now you've got the Falcon is now Captain America, or
I'm gonna eventually fail one of those little quizzes you do.
Falcon Cap or whatever. So yeah, essentially he now has become. Now, by the way, I'm sorry, I loved him taking on Sam Wilson was a fantastic character anyway, but I loved him taking on the Shield because he's one of the few that really could.
Yeah.
And he genuinely had the ability to. So here's this great character who can fly and is also Captain America. So not really as strong. Won the point. He has the ability to throw and catch the shield, though, which is a big deal. So really, Clint Barton and Bucky had been the only ones.
He has the ability to throw, and his superpowers are frisbee.
So do you remember? Okay, do you remember post Civil War when Cap
I just love the way you explained that.
Hold on, remember post Civil War when Cap was killed?
Yeah.
Tony was in charge of Shield, and he had Cap's shield, and he said, "Listen, I want something to be Captain America. There has to be a Captain America, but I keep giving it to these Shield agents. They keep getting their arms chopped off. Literally, they'll throw the shield, it comes back, and chink, arms gone."
I wasn't reading comics at that point, but that's awesome.
So essentially, there's only so many people that can actually have the ability to catch this adamantium vibranium shield. So Bucky,
I mean, maybe they should have just put a rubber grommet around the edge of it, and they would have just got deeply bruised.
Right. So I think it still would take it off.
I was meant to be an engineer. I missed my calling.
It was offered to Clint Barton, to Hawkeye, because Hawkeye had always wanted to be Captain America. Hawkeye could catch it, but Hawkeye's like, nope, I don't want this. And then he offers it to Bucky, and Bucky's like, fine. And he gets all new Captain America outfit, still got the metal arm, but the metal arm can catch it, throw it, and it's more powerful. Plus, Bucky actually has Captain's abilities anyway. He's that strong anyway. So, I digress.
No, that's good background information.
So now Sam Wilson's Cap. So Sam Wilson is in charge of this Avengers group, which is a brand new Avengers group. We start off with issue 0 in around this series. This is the all new Avengers is what this is. And they go.
Were they all new and all different at this point?
I'm
not being facetious.
No, they were. It was all new, all different, I believe. Yeah.
So we had female Thor. No. Yes. No.
Yeah. She was. Jane Foster was Thor at this point.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Vision was back, and so they go to this secret facility that they didn't know anything about. That's a SHIELD facility, and they find these supervillains.
But, and it's not a facility; it's a town.
It's a town. Yeah, exactly.
It's basically Pleasantville, a throwback to Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire.
Did they call it Pleasantville?
No, Reese Witherspoon and Tobey Maguire. Welcome to Pleasant Hill.
Pleasant Hill, exactly.
Yeah. And it was basically Pleasantville. And what had happened is SHIELD played around with the Cosmic Cube and accidentally transformed it into a little girl.
Her name is Cubic. Right.
Who is essentially my 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And having a 4-year-old right now and thinking about her with the powers of the Cosmic Cube is freaking terrifying.
But think of it this way: this is a new being. The Cosmic Cube is sentient, but it's a whole new being. This is a completely innocent person.
They humanized it, yeah.
And they humanized, and basically she's innocent. She doesn't know right from wrong.
So the SHIELD scientists, are basically feeding her fairy tales and saying, change these people and make them better.
So they have all these villains, including Red Skull, and they've taken away all their villainous,
giving them new personalities.
Yeah, give them brand new personalities.
Isn't he the ice cream man?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just like cruising around this very 50s-esque town that they can't leave, and none of them want to leave, doing jobs and selling insurance, and
it's their. And she has
Cap is horrified.
She lobotomizes them essentially, in a very simple way. Just
and Marie Hill's like, what could go wrong? This is perfect. This is awesome. And Cap's like, no, this is bad.
You can imagine the throwdown, right? So,
well, the Tinkerer, of all people, who had a job as like an electronics repairman, tinkers and fixes himself, and then he knows what's happened and can recall all of it, and he's been quietly fixing the villains.
Right.
And so, predictably, in Standoff, all of the supervillains that have been released into their original personalities and are just playing along to not upset S.H.I.E.L.D., which has cameras all over everything, revolt and try to take over. And Kubrick returns Captain America to his prime age with all of his powers, and he rises up to stop them.
What we don't know is Red Skull has gotten to Kubrick.
Yeah. He basically realizes, and like, this is why Red Skull is actually a powerful force, is he is intelligent. Right. He doesn't act like a douche toward her. No. He's like, come with me, my love, and I'll show you how the world should be. And he indoctrinates her.
Well, indoctrinate's not fair. What he does is just tell her what he believes. And he says, listen.
No, he indoctrinates her.
My friend Steve, when he was a little boy, he was ill. He wasn't taken care of. His mother wasn't taken care of. I like Steve a lot. What I'd love to do is for somebody to go back in time and go fix things for him so he didn't have such a bad childhood.
Yep.
And what she does is she fixes things by letting him go back in time. Well,
she rewrites the Marvel Universe by making a new version. It is not the true Captain America.
No.
She creates a new reality, as the Cosmic Cube can do, where Steve was a deep cover Hydra agent
before
he was Captain America. Yeah. His mother was a Hydra agent. Yeah. Hydra steps in and stops his father abusing his mother, kills the father, eventually takes Steve to Germany. They get him through training. Him and Arnim Zola and what's Baron Zemo's real name? No, Zemo.
That's his name.
But he has a first name. Helmut Zemo. Helmut Zemo are going through this together, and Helmut's, hearty and healthy and whatever, and Steve's kind of a little wuss. Steve comes back to the States, infiltrates the Super Soldier program on purpose, and is made Captain America. And then in the war with Hydra, he takes out Nazis, but he actually helps Hydra.
Exactly.
And Hydra then becomes a deep seed in the States and in other places. And that Nick Spencer Captain America series, although it's hugely controversial, was very, very well written and was very, very good. It is why I can forgive Nick Spencer Secret Empire and his Amazing Spider-Man run, because that Captain America was phenomenal.
I mean, we don't know what's really going on until we think there's something weird going on, but then the cover of what issue 15 was, Hail Hydra. I mean, that was...
Well, no, he says Hail Hydra at the end of issue 1.
But, he does, that's right. Yeah.
But, I mean, as he kicks the two Patriot wannabe kids, like, Johnny Stripes or whatever the guy's name, and he kicks him out of a plane, and,
Hail Hydra.
And Cap is not evil. Right. Cap is not evil. Cap believes that he is doing the right thing. So the scary thing, and I think what Nick Spencer did well in the prelude to Secret Empire, is that he takes the fervor and the patriotism and the extreme zealotry that Captain America has about truth, justice, and the American way, and makes it truth, justice, and the Hydra way. Cap is never evil.
So in this, first of all, Cap is the ultimate strategist. This is one of the reasons that people love him, is because he's Captain America, but he's a strategist. He's thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead.
He's Batman. He's Batman that way.
Yeah. And that's in the Amalgam comics years ago. They had this battle that was the two, was Batman versus Captain America, and essentially they were evenly matched. And they would parry and smack, but neither could get an actual land a blow, and they kind of stopped and went, yeah, this ain't gonna happen.
The problem with that is that Steve's super strength wins. Like, true Batman versus Captain America, Bats is smart enough, but Steve has the healing factor and the endurance. No matter what Bats does to him, he goes down. Because the reason he can beat Superman is he has such a great tactical mind.
Right.
Steve has every bit the same tactical mind with superpowers. Right. So Bats loses.
He can lift a tank.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this, and here's the thing. So,
but we digress.
And you're right. No, and I do agree with you. It's not evil. It's just it is an evil kind of feeling.
It is the zealotry applied to a different cause, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And so
what's going on also is, Sword has been dismantled. Shield is near just being dismantled. There is this Chitauri force coming to Earth,
which has been secretly called there. So Steve realizes, and this is where Secret Empire picks up. Steve realizes to bring America to its true potential, two things have to happen. Number one, he has to take over America, and number two, then he has to take over the world.
Right.
He is going to become the supreme leader.
Right.
Up to this point, Red Hood is still out there before Secret Empire starts.
Red Skull.
Red Skull. What did I say, Red Hood? Yeah, he wins
We just
that
did
fight too.
We just did DC.
So Steve manages to gain full control of Hydra.
Right.
And in a few very chess-like moves, he lures all of the cosmic heroes off planet to fight the Chitauri
including
force,
the new Quasar and
yeah,
Alpha Flight,
and then enacts a shield around the planet that they can't get back through.
Well, the shield for the planet was Captain Marvel's idea. Captain Marvel and Black Panther, they want the shield
in Civil War. They wanted that
exactly because they wanted to protect the Earth.
Civil War II.
Yeah, they just didn't know he was going to be using it against them.
Right.
So yeah.
So Steve goes, "Hey, I like that plan you had. Click, it's up there." And now that's the anvil that the Chitauri are just coming and hammering them against.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so all of the people who could have just easily ended it are in space.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get out. Now, interestingly enough, he traps Doctor Strange, who could have just easily stopped him.
Yep.
Daredevil, Iron Fist, Cloak and Dagger.
He traps them all in New York.
He traps him in the dark version of New York,
Exactly.
in the dark verse.
Yeah. Essentially, Doctor Strange is the only thing stopping the dark verse from winning.
Right. Well, no, Dazzler going up and shedding light, which is one of the most awesome pieces of
Dazzler
that.
doing it too, and also even Wilson Fisk actually did some. It's funny, the people you think of as villains really did come out.
Well, that's how he ends up mayor. This is one of those threads.
Yeah.
When we talk about threads, so you've got Death of Hulk, the repowering of Captain America, the proof that he's immortal because they bring Hulk back during this, death of Tony Stark that turns out not to be his death, and Tony and Cap at odds again. Clint Barton and Iron Man and that group go underground, but they're not powerful enough to do anything to Cap.
So let's go back a little bit further before we hit Secret Empire. The one thing we're missing is Thunderbolts. So I've loved Thunderbolts ever since I was a little kid. The fact that Clint Barton had this amazing group of ex-villains he was trying to reform, who never really got reformed.
No.
They're always going to be villains. They just were kind of afraid of going to jail, or Supermax. So now we've got some of these original Thunderbolts. They're kind of being led by
Atlas, and
they're being led by Bucky. Yeah.
Mach 10 and
Mach 5, Mach 10. Yeah. Where's your car? So you've got these now, and Atlas really was not a villain, ever truly a villain.
Well,
he was kind of led that way because of his brother.
And post Secret Empire, Bucky, who is killed,
right?
During the build up to Secret Empire, Bucky, no, he's killed.
Right.
Cap straps him to a rocket and fires it off, and he's just dead. Which wasn't an evil act. Bucky was in the way of the plan,
right?
And so it wasn't that I'm killing him because I wanted to. He was heartbroken about it. But he killed him.
But Bucky wasn't completely killed. Bucky had to go take the other shard, and anyway, so they've rescued Cubic. They're now basically trying to keep her safe because they know what she is, even though she may not be aware of what she is. They know what she is, and of course, they're of course being tracked and being hunted by the Masters of Evil, which are the Hydra,
it's like Gorgon and
Red Skull's there.
No, he killed Red Skull.
Zemo, that's right.
Helmut Zemo, who is Steve's good buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like the one person he trusts, and so they come together, and there are a few powers, Hank Pym Ultron, being one of them, who can oppose him. And he goes around and starts dealing with those powers. So start Secret Empire. You basically, and this storyline is so dumb in and of itself. All the things leading up to it are great, and the ending of it is great.
Right.
The storyline inside, like, you almost don't care about most of it. So here's some important parts. He executes Rick Jones. Now, Rick Jones is the ultimate Marvel fanboy. He's been a huge Hulk fan. Yeah. He's been a huge Cap fan. Right. He's been a hero in his own right. He's been depowered. He's been a rock star. He's been a reporter.
He was Abomination.
Yeah.
The Blue Abomination.
Yeah. He's been a hacker now.
Yeah.
So Hydra captures him. Cap puts him to death. Black Widow comes in to stop him. He kills Black Widow. Like, Cap now he has become the totalitarian. Yeah. And you see, which is my point about all of the Captain America run, up until this point, Cap not evil. Cap loses himself. And you start to see the zealotry truly turn. He lost himself in the moment, the music. He better never ever stop.
So the way you know he loses himself is there's one major city in the country that has resisted, that has the resistance usually there. It's Las Vegas. So what does he do?
He sends in a bunch of Hydra helicarriers and bombs it out of existence.
Literally wipes it off the planet.
Well, and it's Tony's fault because that's where they were held up.
Exactly.
He kills everyone in there. Yeah. Eventually, Strange and Fisk and Daredevil and Iron Fist break out of the dark verse. Yeah. Eventually, the cosmic heroes break the barrier.
So wait, hold on. One more thing before we go too much further. When they do capture Cubic, she's killed. The cosmic cube is shattered. It's shattered into many, many pieces, and the pieces are kind of scattered all over the country. One of the things they have to do, and this is kind of one of the things you think is dumb. One of the things they have to do is get all the pieces back together. Once the pieces are completely back together, the cube can be powered up, and then Steve can use it to take over the world.
So Voldemort Steve needed to recollect his Horcruxes.
Well, kind of, yeah.
I mean, that really is way to steal a storyline, Nick Spencer.
So, but that still leads to a good point. So there's one big piece left, and when you start reading Secret Empire, you start seeing something very strange. You start seeing an ethereal dream world where Steve Rogers, the Steve Rogers we knew,
with a beard,
it's kind of...
Isn't it weird how in some cases having the beard makes you the good guy, and in some cases having the beard makes you the bad guy?
Well, it's the goatee versus the... Anyway.
No. If you have the woodsman beard, if you have the lovely beard you sport, the woodsman beard, the rugged beard,
lovely,
you're totally a good guy. If you come back with the crazy maniac grizzled beard, you're the Alan Moore beard. Yes, that's a good description.
Anyway,
the sexy. Are you the sexy Chris Hemsworth, or are you the crazy Alan Moore?
So we see Cap, and he's in this dream world. He really knows who he is, but he doesn't understand what's going on. And what you find is that there is a small part of this good Cap that's still left. It's still somewhere,
and also there. Red Skull.
Yeah, there's also
who beats his ass.
And essentially, you've got these trials and tribulations. So you know that there's this good Cap left. So, and somehow Bucky figures this out. Bucky understands what's happened, and so they find the last piece of this. They find the last piece of this puzzle, of this cube, and they kind of pull what. That they should have pulled. It's not the fastball special, but the Clint Barton special.
And the cosmic cube comes all together, and out of the ethereal plane steps the real Cap.
Right. So and essentially,
who then proceeds to throw down.
Well, it's more than that though. So Bucky is the one who goes into the cube.
Yeah.
And basically begs Cubic to fix things.
Yeah. And there is Cubic.
Right. And remember when we're reading this, I remember we talked about this years ago. We're like, what is she going to do? Is she just going to right all the wrongs? Is she just going to put everything back to the way it was supposed to be?
Mm-mm.
And Marvel chose not to do that. Marvel chose at the end to just simply go forward.
Leave the stains on the mattress, if you will. It literally, it left Vegas totaled.
Yep.
It
Black
left
Widow dead.
It left Black Widow dead. It left
Rick Jones dead.
Yeah, and it left Captain America's reputation completely tarnished and stained, and left 2 Captain Americas. So
Two Steve Rogers.
Bearded Cap steps out. No, 2 Captain Americas. Supreme Leader is the other guy's name, and Cap. So Supreme Leader in his Iron Man-esque suit, which really is kind of cool. The green Iron Man suit is pretty neat. Throws down with Cap. Cap spanks that ass. And instead of killing him because he's Steve Rogers, they take him into custody, and curtain falls.
And now Hydra's being hunted down.
Yeah.
So what you kind of see in this too, there's 2 major hero-ish characters that picked the wrong side. One of those is Deadpool, which we're not surprised at all. He went with the Cap side because he's Deadpool. He's going to go with whatever side he thinks is going to most benefit him.
Yeah.
But the one that surprised me specifically, and we talked about as to why, but the thing that surprised me was Punisher.
But you need Punisher to be pissed off. If Punisher... Okay, first of all, Punisher's never going to side against Cap, ever. Because
that's his hero.
That's who he wants to be.
Yeah, that's his hero.
If he didn't have the tragedy in his past, he would have just been a true soldier until the end. He would have been a soldier and then a cop, and then he would have retired. And I mean, who would want to read that comic? You know.
True. Yeah, you're right. I mean, so yeah, and we talked. Remember, I was talking about this. I'm going, God, I can't believe it. And you're like, but wait.
Yeah,
that's his hero.
That's his hero.
That's his hero. That's the man.
You're like, Punisher would never. I'm like, of course Punisher would, because if Cap's doing it, it has to be right. And in Omega, Punisher is killing every Hydra agent he can.
He's still doing it. He's still doing it now.
I have been tricked, and I do not forgive anyone for tricking me. He also is a little disillusioned with Cap.
Yeah.
Because he didn't see the throwdown. The world didn't see the throwdown between the real Cap and Supreme Leader.
Right.
All they know is that Supreme Leader fell and was imprisoned and all that. Right. And then supposedly this other dude is the real Captain America, and this guy wasn't a real dude all along.
Right.
And so you have 2 Caps with 2 separate histories. And Supreme Leader will be back at some point.
Oh, yeah.
He will take a main view, and they'll give him a new identity.
Yeah.
He won't just be Supreme Leader. He will come along.
Well, he's been rescued now. He's not in prison anymore. And the Captain America, the Ta-Nehisi Coates run right now, he has been rescued. He is not. He's out there.
Yeah.
We just don't know what's going to happen.
We'll have a major event or a mini-series that deals with the Supreme Leader becoming agent, winner, or whatever.
So, Secret Empire marked an end to the events in the Marvel Universe for the most part.
Well, we've left off an important tie-in. How we get to some of the more modern things.
Legacy.
Yeah, it does lead directly to Legacy number 1. But Doctor Strange feels extreme guilt over Vegas.
Yeah.
And so he performs a massive ritual in the desert to bring back Las Vegas and every soul, specific to the way that it was phrased, that was there. Wham bam, thank you ma'am, says the magic words. Up pops Vegas, completely restored, all the people restored as if nothing ever happened. And
he uses up all of the possible magic that he can get. It's gone.
Yeah.
His magic at this point is now...
And come to find out, Vegas and all of its residents had been pulled to hell. And when he pulls Vegas back, he pulls Mephisto back with it. The Doctor Strange Damnation run is a direct pull from what happened in Secret Empire. Yeah. Here are the important threads for Damnation. Strange isn't strong enough to magically handle this. So Wong and Iron Fist and Spider-Man and
no. Scarlet Spider. Let's be clear.
Scarlet Spider. My bad. The other Peter Parker.
He's more like Kane. Anyway.
And Johnny Blaze.
Yeah, Johnny Blaze.
Go to Vegas and try to get Mephisto out of Vegas. And instead, Strange realizes, oh, hell doesn't have anybody on the throne. If I take the throne away from Mephisto, Mephisto loses his power. So Johnny Blaze gets thrown off the top of a casino and dies and goes to hell as a Ghost Rider and takes over hell.
Which leads us to where we are right now.
This is the premise for the current Ghost Rider run. If you haven't read Donny Cates' Doctor Strange Damnation run, it's like 4 issues. It is phenomenal. Strange.
Then he takes over for Strange, and Strange loses his power, but there's a ghost dog, and anyway.
Bats was awesome.
That's still
that whole run. So it went from Donny Cates writing Doctor Strange to Mark Waid writing Doctor Strange to Al Ewing writing Doctor Strange.
Which is back to Mark Waid now.
And it's back to Mark Waid now.
Yeah.
But that tells you, so Strange has no power, goes through a whole thing about going off into space and learning how to be an artificer, and then realizes that he needs to pay the cost when he uses magic, and instead of Wong forcing that off on these monks that are suffering for him, Strange begins to use magic in a different way, which gets you current on the Doctor Strange run.
Yeah.
Also, it gets us to the place we are on the Immortal Hulk run, because Hulk wakes up and has been hiding in the background for a long time.
Well, hold on, wait. But you get Immortal Hulk from the No Road Home, the Avengers, the weekly tie-in.
Yeah. Oh, I love No Road Home.
Yeah. So that's how you get Immortal Hulk, but which they do find Banner alive in Secret Empire. They find him in a bunker, and they're like, wait a minute. He's like, yeah, he couldn't kill me.
Yeah,
you can't kill me now.
So
and that's where you start to realize what's really going
on. And you think Rick Jones is back.
No.
So that gets you to your current run of Immortal Hulk.
Yeah. The only thing that Secret Empire doesn't touch on is the X-Men.
And somewhat Thor.
Yeah.
Because the Thor run that happens with Jason Aaron post Secret Empire.
And see, technically, Thor could have taken Cap down, but Thor essentially captured Mjolnir.
Yeah.
And held it. So Thor
Cap captured Mjolnir and held it.
Yeah.
Because Cap has always been worthy, and even Supreme Leader.
Even Supreme Leader was still worthy.
Was worthy.
Because he wasn't
evil.
evil.
You find out that the reason he was worthy is that Kubrick rewrote the words on Mjolnir. So Thor, who is not worthy of the hammer at this point, follows Cap.
So yeah, this is Secret Empire had a lot of darkness. In fact, it's the darkest thing that they have ever done.
Which is saying something given the contents of Civil War 1 and 2.
Yeah, Civil War is pretty dark, but so yeah, I mean, Secret Empire, it is never going to be one of my favorite books. But I will say,
it was painful to read it. It really was.
It
was painful to read it the first time. It was more painful to reread it.
Because you know what's going to happen.
I know exactly what's going to happen, and it's kind of like reading Silas Marner. Like, it's just a painful damn read, and God, Ethan Frome, you bastard. But at the same time, it does set the stage.
Right.
For a bunch of the modern stuff. The current Cap run is based off of it. Immortal Hulk kind of spins out of it. Doctor Strange spins out of it. Ghost Rider spins out of it. So really,
the current Avengers run technically spins out of it too.
Yes.
Because if you're not reading Avengers, first of all, you're cheating yourself because it's fantastic because Jason Aaron's amazing. But in the Avengers run, the Avengers have made a promise. They will always have 5 of the major people always in the Avengers, whether it's Cap, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Strange, whatever. There'll always be 5 major people there, and that's a guarantee no matter what. There won't be like this huge roster change all the time like has been for so long. I mean, how many roster changes do we have in like 2 or 3 years? I mean, because you had Uncanny Avengers, and we had all these different Avengers groups, and they're not doing that anymore. Now it's always one thing, which is actually pretty great. It's a great idea. So that's, again, part of that spinning out of. And what it did give us, too, is it gave us Legacy. Legacy...
Which is where we're going to pick up next time.
Okay.
And the reason that we want to pick up with Legacy is Legacy gives us Thor, what's going on with the current Thor run,
Yeah.
and everything that's going on there, it gives us a little bit of Spidey.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, and really, what we're going to catch up on in our next Marvel is from Legacy to Incoming, and catch you up on the Spider-Verse, why Null's coming, all that good stuff.
Absolute carnage. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if we can kind of download down that road from Legacy to Incoming, I'll have to kind of look at what events we need to touch on. We'll have to talk about Original Sin.
Yeah.
Because Thor going not worthy at the end of Original Sin becomes the kickoff point for Jason Aaron's entire thing.
It's interesting. There are some threads that started way back and have just been silently going. See, this is why I still think Secret Crisis is still a thing. I think, and hopefully Donny Cates is using this time. Please, Donny, please use this time. I think he's using this time to genuinely decide where it's going to go.
He's penning the next 15 issues of Redneck. I don't know. Stop that. And we're okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. Have it all ready to go, so that way you can take a break from Redneck for a year. And...
I mean, honestly, if I were truly just a creative, I would be working so freaking hard right now. I would be, and I guess it's funny. I am working on my fiction very actively, and the goal then would be to go, oh, you want scripts?
Bam!
Here's a year worth of scripts. I'm going to get paid for this for the next year, and I'm going to take a friggin' year off. Because you can cram a ton of work.
Or what he's going to do is he's going to hand his scripts in, take a year off of Redneck, because there really is only independent book left out there, and then say, fine, Marvel, let's go. Let's do this. Let's get Scott Snyder in here. Let's have some discussions. Figure out how we're going to make the Secret Crisis thing.
Figure out how we're going to buy DC. Oh wait, no, that already happened quietly in the background.
You're so determined. All right, so that's it for me for Secret Empire. Anything else you want to add?
It was awful to reread that. We must really love you guys.
It was hard to read to begin with. The thing for me is I kept thinking, okay, we're gonna have the end.
Well, I was loving the Captain America series so much that this being the tie-up for it. I remember
when the Hell Hydra thing on the cover. You're like, oh, look! I'm like, oh my god! You're like, oh my god, this is so. So yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was history, man.
It was very history making. My favorite is Hell Hydra on the first printing. On the second printing, it wasn't.
Right.
It was like, what? So yeah, it's anyway. So yeah, if you haven't read it and you are someone who is maybe new to Marvel, new to reading comic books, someone who hasn't read in a long time. It's a challenge, but it's fantastic. You should try it out.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
We appreciate everything.
I'm gonna go rant into the camera for 5 minutes about what I'm about to do and change. All right, YouTube. Bad news. So I'm not.
You're not gonna see any of this. This is the best part. He's talking just to talk at this point.
Oh no, you're gonna see all of this because I'm gonna cut the preamble and I'm gonna the postscript. And we're going to start just posting like 10-minute YouTube videos. Forget putting the whole episode up there. You're only going to hear the episode on the podcast. But the pre-talk and the post-talk all go into YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I've had one of those moments of epiphany where I realized we're working too hard. I'm so glad I have that face on video. All right. I'm going home so I can edit.
So, yeah. Been a fun day.
Yeah.
And you're welcome.
Caleb.